Thank God that there was no voter fraud in 2024. It would have been terrible if there was voter fraud this time, wouldn't it? Of course, I'm being completely sarcastic. With Donald Trump, it's did he win or was it rigged? I want to introduce this topic with video of Golden State Warriors basketball head coach Steve Kerr, who had the same idea and said, I'm just glad there was no voter fraud this time because that would have been really terrible. Here's Steve Kerr.
Where you kind of hope the country kind of goes from here?
Well, I mean, I believe in democracy, and I think the American people have spoken and voted for Trump, and I want him to do well the next 4 years. I want our country to do well. So I'm just thankful that there wasn't any voting fraud this time. You know, it's last time, I mean, all those illegal immigrants who crashed the border and raped and murdered people and then voted 6 times. That was unfortunate, but thankfully this time everything was clean. So it's great that every election has been really valid, except for that last one 4 years ago. So twinkle in my eye as I say that, in case you couldn't see it.
I think you all get the point. Now, it almost, the day before the election, Donald Trump started with there's fraud in Pennsylvania. Law enforcement is coming out. Detroit is calling out police because what's going on at the polling places is clearly not okay. And then all of a sudden it looked like Trump was going to win. Not a word about voter fraud. I do want to point out that while 99% of us recognize that there was not voter fraud, there are little bits and pieces. There's one particular Twitter thread that my attention was pointed to from a user named who goes by Springtrap, which I encourage you to read through it. It makes a whole bunch of different claims about the number of votes, the order of counting, how certain states could have been called so quickly, presenting so-called evidence of fraud. I looked through it. I simply don't see it. Okay? Now, there are people who wrote to me and they are angry and they are saying, David, when we have 20 years now, or not 20, 12 years, certainly since Romney ran against Obama, we have 12 years now of Republicans making it harder for people to vote, closing polling places, purging voter rolls, all of these different things. How can you say that there wasn't fraud? And I think we on the left have to be really careful with this because these are two different things. I have covered as much as anyone the efforts from Republicans to make it tougher to vote. Mostly unsuccessful efforts for various voter ID schemes, shutting down polling places, voter purges, etc. But I can't honestly tell you in looking at the results that the purge of 4,600 voters in Virginia, some of whom actually should have been removed because they moved elsewhere. And part of those, of course, would be Harris voters. Some of them would be Trump voters. I can't say that that is fraud of the style that some are alleging took place in 2020 from the Trump campaign. So I am right there with everybody saying it needs to be easier to vote. We need more automatic voter registration. I've got a list of 20 points when it comes to my make it easier to vote plan. But we need to be very careful that those beliefs, which apply to all elections, aren't going to be taken as an opportunity from these Trumpians to go, you guys are alleging the same thing we alleged in 2020. No, we are not. No, we are not. I looked at, on the Friday show, some people wrote to me and said, oh, David, it's the Muslim vote in Michigan is what lost it for Harris. I looked at the numbers. I don't see that. So let's really stick to the facts. And the facts are there was not voter fraud of the kind that Donald Trump alleged in 2020. He genuinely lost 2020. And there similarly is not anything like that type of voter fraud in 2024. Harris genuinely lost. Now, should it be easier to vote? Absolutely. Do we need to keep fighting against these voter ID laws that are designed to make it harder for poor people who disproportionately lean Democratic to vote? Yes, we have to do that. But when I say thank God there was no voter fraud this time, obviously it's sarcastic. Let's not fall into the same stuff that they fall into willingly every single election. There are two big problems with the cheap plastic disposable razors. 2/3 of people have skin irritation, and then over 2 billion plastic razors enter our landfills in the United States alone. Now, our sponsor, Henson Shaving, solves both problems. With the plastic disposable razors, you have unstable blades wobbling around as you shave, which causes the irritation. It's like if you were cutting something with scissors or a knife and the blade is wiggling. That's what's happening to your face with the cheap razors. So here's the solution. Razors produced by Henson have a blade that extends only 0.0013 inches past the shave plane. And that means no blade movement, more comfort before and after shaving. This is something only Henson can offer because of their precision manufacturing shop that also makes aerospace parts. Plus, the only part that you replace is the blade itself. The razor will last you a lifetime. Better for your wallet, much better for the planet. When you buy a razor at hensonshaving.com/Pacman, use the code Pacman to get a 2-year supply of blades for free. Make sure to add the blades to your cart. The link is in the description.